Good afternoon. So in your mind you can think I am Anil Pillai and develop the same synergy, but considering that you all have been talking so much about skill development, I'll cut to the chase. It's post lunch anyway, so I'll just share with you a few things, and I've got 25 minutes. So I'll do about 15-18 minutes, and then if there are any questions, it's fine. Otherwise, I'll save time for the next speaker. So this is what we'll do, if that's okay with you. The red box is well known to you. The other parts I'll tell you, while we are so busy doing our business, we don't know what the others are doing. So there are some very exciting things, and then finally in that orange box we'll see, is there something for us which we can take a leap in our manpower terms. So this part is known to you. It's extremely important to slice the pie in this manner because the challenges of skill development are different in different sectors, and you know it better than most. So let's just see how we are stacked in terms of skill development today. See, we are suppliers, and we supply across a wide segment of industries. Each of them have their own requirements. So while we are talking to them, we find that the auto industry and the component industry, some of it is already doing a lot of investment into the foundry business. So there's an interesting synergy happening over here. And the other part, and this is all for skill development, it's just building the context. The other part is you're clustered. So through the morning we are hearing, how about doing something across clusters? And in skill development, when we think of solutions, let's see if on a cluster-based approach we can do something for skilling. And this is the other part which talks about the volume. So I didn't cater for a $20 billion industry going forward. So obviously it required more than 20,000 people. And you've got that, that famous 500,000 and 1.5 million people which you have today, your direct and your indirect workforce. And so 20,000 seems to be a very ungainly number. I'm excited that maybe it's more. So now these are all based on a report which the IIF gave us. Take a minute to just go through them. So really speaking, what we are saying is because of the diverse nature and the highly unorganized segment, there's really no concrete focus on skilling in the sector. And the last part is also important, nomadic worker groups. So we heard a large number of players telling us when I had last gone to Coimbatore to have a meeting with the foundrymen like yours, that a lot of agricultural workers in the non-harvesting season come and work in the foundry industry, and of course is the low profitability as well. So, and you people are well traveled. I was talking to some people on this front table. You have already traveled to Germany and all. You know that there are certain good practices which are happening in Germany. It's all given over there. It's essentially telling you these things. First, look, people in this room need to take charge of skilling, right? And so for 70 years we've been working, hoping that the government will do something, hoping that society will do something. That's not going to happen. And so you heard for 1.5 days that, we got to take charge. So it's all about us, standards, earn and learn. So there has to be some kind of weaving together of a person learning and earning. Lifetime engagement, that's the Japan model. How many of you have traveled to Japan or understand the Japan foundry model? Yeah, so there are people, you'll agree with me. I was just reading up before I came for this program. It's very interesting. They have a mentor who even looks after their physical needs. So that's a kind of engagement that happens in Japan. And of course you heard Brazil in the morning today about how they feel that, why is it not attractive? It's very attractive. That's what the employers say over there. So these are the global lessons. Now with this, let's see what is the framework on which you can load up, you can stack up, and as employers benefit from getting better workforce tomorrow. So just a few slides on that. So post 2009, there has been a shift in the responsibility of skill development in this country. Pre 2009, it was entirely the responsibility of the government. 95% of all skill development in this country happened through the government. But post that, there's been a shift. So all that you see to the right side, that National Skill Development Corporation, that's what is the initiative of the industry. And so what is this initiative of this industry? To create an organization which I belong to, which is called the National Skill Development Corporation. We are 51% industry and 49% government. So we are a PPP. We represent 10 industry associations, but we represent the entire universe of industry associations and therefore industry. Here is what we are mandated to do. You have a problem with training initiatives. You have a problem with your industry not getting trained manpower. You can come to us. We will co-create the idea with you. So you say, we are from Belgaum cluster and we want to do something about skill development for our cluster. We'll create the idea with you and we will put money where the mouth is. 75% of the risk we will take. And so we will co-create a training model along with you. And the third part is again very interesting. You as industry are to decide what standards are to be created, to create assessment frameworks, and thus decide how the workforce of your industry is going to be today and tomorrow. Are you understanding the paradigm shift? Are you understanding? So I think Archana in the morning was saying that the game is not being played on this platform, the game is actually being played there. So I want to tell you that the game of skill development is now in your hands. So what is a sector skill council? So there's the first piece that we all need to understand. Your sector skill council has already been created and I'll be telling you about it. So just see what this is. This is an autonomous body. It's an entity like your Belgaum cluster, foundry cluster. That's an entity. Similarly, this is an entity. What is this entity supposed to do? Nothing else but fulfill your requirements of manpower, both in quality and quantity. And third is there's a funding element, so you don't have to keep feeding money into this organization. It's going to take care of itself. So is this a story? It's not a story. As you can see on the board, there are 29 skill councils which have been created with leaders like you. And you, is there a lady? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, figure here. This is where you are. Now by show of hands, can you indicate how many of you know that you're part of this sector skill council? Please raise hands. Wonderful. Oh, okay. One hand, two hands. So in the next 1.5 years, you're going to hear a lot about the Iron and Steel Sector Skill Council, which is the mother skill council catering for the entire value chain of skill development in the iron and steel. So right from the time the ore comes out from the mine, there's a mining skill council. From there on, the entire process is with the Iron and Steel Sector Skill Council, right? So what do these skill councils do? Now, the first thing they do is what you were asking for. Where are the people coming from? What kind of standards they have? Then they create a quality assurance mechanism. And the third is they catalyze the delivery mechanism. So what we are really saying is, till now, the education system, the AICT was deciding क्या पढ़ाना होगा, क्या करना होगा हर course में. Foundry industry के लिए, if there are some institutes, whether those people come to the industry or not, it's just some data somewhere. Now you have an entity where you can get somebody by the year and you can tell him, boss, you tell me where will my engineers for foundry come from. They are responsible. So let me just show you how specific these occupation standards are. They have been made by the Auto Skill Council in your absence because you were not formed. So they created this. Now, since you people have come up, You people need to improve in. So this is on a website. You can have a look. It's called a qualification pack for a foundry assistant. So you see the kind of detailing that has been done. So the occupation standards are in blue, 6 of them. See how each one is created. So these 6 standards are required by a foundry assistants in the understanding of the auto sector. Now they will need to demonstrate this performance criteria, obtain the metal ingots from the store as per the defined quantity and other desired. So it's all laid down. Who's laid these down? The employers have laid these down. The industry has laid this down. And you can see that there are, knowledge components, there are skill components. So what really will happen? The entire skill development mechanism in the country is getting transformed to follow these kind of standards. And that's the transformation that is happening in our skill development system. I need some help to get to the desktop. Escape. Okay, thanks. Now, when we ask the IIF what should be the goals of a sector skill council which manages the foundry, their wish list was this. This was the top sheet that they gave us, right? So first was, they will go to you and ask you, what is your requirement? Quality and quantity. Kitne log chahiye, what kind of trades, today the kind of people you're getting, what improvements you want, what kind of standards. So they lay down the standards, they align the education, so the supply side gets aligned to the demand side. In essence, that's what it does. But then they gave a detailed list which goes into 2 pages. And so all that you've been hearing in the morning is already captured with us. But like someone said, it's knowledge. We need to get to execution. Who's got to execute? The Sector Skill Council has got to execute. Who is the Sector Skill Council? You people, as the industry leaders, are the Sector Skill Council. So you got to see that your Sector Skill Council executes these and more. So you can see a whole lot of pieces which the IIF felt that your Sector Skill Council needs to be doing. Now the other industry which already have the Sector Skill Councils have gone ahead and have integrated. So on the right you can see how interested the entire economy of this country is to associate with you all. So the schools of Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka, West Bengal are all getting aligned. From class 9th, you have the possibility of training people for your industry. From class 9th, not at, at +2 level, at diploma level, right from class 9. So as we are talking today, 7 industry sectors are already training children in the government schools of Karnataka, Himachal Pradesh, West Bengal, Haryana. And more states are coming in this year. The CBSE is aligning with us. You name it, the ITIs are aligning. So what are they seeing? Are they seeing NSDC? They are not seeing NSDC. They are seeing these skill councils coming together. Right? So that's what this slide is telling you. And of course, on a larger track, if you see what is happening to skill development, it's undergoing a revolution. So today the challenge is that, the skill development is being done by a vocational training provider. Could be a polytechnic, could be an ITI, could be a private player, PSG, someone, they are all doing this. But unfortunately, there is no connect with the industry. So once you create your Sector Skill Council, you create the standards, you create accreditation, assessment and certification, and what this allows is for the employer acceptance of certification. That's the transformation that is already happening. Your Iron and Steel Skill Council has already been formed. You need to now go ahead with your clusters and with your IIF, you need to go and take charge of the skill development of your sector. Now this is the other exciting part. How many of you have heard of this term, National Skill Qualification Framework? So I don't know why this government doesn't tom-tom what it is doing. On 27th of December last year, the cabinet approved the National Skill Qualification Framework. It got just 30 millimeter of media space. only 30 millimeter. But if Salman Khan sneezes, there is 100 centimeters. But the transformation that this is going to bring are threefold. The first is, you as employers, just see, you become the certifying bodies, you have as much power as the Central Board of Secondary Education, the AICT, the ITIs, or anyone in our ecosystem today. That's the power of your sector skill council. The second thing that happens is, especially for industry like yours, the workers that come to you as 8th pass need not get back into a formal education system, yet they can aspire, like in UK, like in Brazil, like in Australia, they can aspire to become doctorates in some casting technology or whatever, just by doing the vocational qualifications which are certified by your sector skill council. So there will be occupation standards like this which you will create at various levels from level 1 to 10, and when your staff, they acquire these qualifications in your establishments, you will have mentors for them who will get them to move from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, which will be recognized by the government. And so let me just show you the certificate that you give. This is the kind of certificate that you will provide to them. It's a government recognized certificate. Based on this certificate, your workers tomorrow can aspire to become a PhD by actually not going to a school and college. That's the power of your sector skill council. It is up to you to make it what you want. So really speaking, this is what the government has proposed. It is, you can download it from the web, the National Skill Qualification Framework. That's the power that you have with you as industry leaders, right? Now, so therefore there is this equivalence. I come to the other part of what NSDC can do for you. Now I know it's hard to focus on so much with all that chicken curry within you and all. I'm also belching. But I have really come and invested 2 days here with an expectation that some of you at some point of time are going to tell me, Basab, we want to listen to you and understand how we can partner with you. We will do 25%, NSDC, you put 75% of the money, and we want to do some training for the foundry industry. If you believe the society is not doing for you, the government is not doing for you, why not do it yourself? Now with this, you don't need to do anything more than just provide guidance. You can hire people. We can give you training partners who understand pedagogy, who understand instructional design, who understand training. They can set it up in your industry complex. You can decide, which is why I said it's a very exciting industry because you're clusterized. Geographically, you're clusterized. So each cluster can decide, we need 1, 2, 3 training centers. We link them up to schools, we link them up to ITIs, we link them up to polytechnics. Possibilities are endless. But we can't be anything more than facilitators. That's what the government has made clear. My salary comes from the interest which I earn based on the funding that we do for you. We are like a venture fund. But you guys can come forward. In fact, for your industry, maybe there will be loans at 0% interest which you will get to start your training entities. So that's the piece on funding. These are the people whom we have been able to convince. You can see Bharat Forge is also there, one of our very big partners. And this is the other part I want to tell you. This is the third part. Now you heard about industry becoming the emperor of skill development by setting up the Sector Skill Council. You heard about the National Skill Qualification Framework. Now here is a scheme which allows your workers to get qualified as per your standards and earn 10,000 rupees. It's called the STAR scheme. You can again Google and you can find out about this. I will request as clusters, as individual entrepreneurs, please look at it, take the benefit of it, because your people can be skilled so that they are more efficient at the workplace. At the same time, they can earn 10,000 rupees and get a government certificate. So this is the certificate I was telling you. It's a STAR certificate. So therefore, what are we saying? I think I'm very good with my time management. So by a show of hands, could you indicate who would not join the Sector Skill Council? Please raise hands. That's a good way of asking. How many of you will join or are interested in joining? Thank you very much. What about the others? So let's have questions from you, why you wouldn't want to join your skill council. And then, of course, it's all there. So I'm done with my presentation. It's really about building the brand for Foundry. And I've given 2 mail IDs, that's my mail ID and mobile number. And Sushim Banerjee, another Banerjee, is the CEO of the Iron and Steel Skill Council. It is being led by INSDAG, which is the Indian Society for Steel Development and Growth. And the Indian Institute of Foundrymen are also partnering it, and you've got 1 seat on the governing council. Sushim Banerjee is the contact person for that. 5 minutes for questions, please. You can actually start with the question. So,
can you share any of the success stories where this has been implemented and seen good results?
how many do you want?
1.
Okay. So, in the automobile sector, the first success that the Auto Skill Council had is the entire industry agreed to common standards for all their job roles. So if you go to our website, you will see there are 170 job roles in the auto sector. All the industry players sat together and agreed to create the standards. First. Second, in the auto sector, in the Haryana schools, 2 years back they started off with a program for class 11 service technician, job role service technician. 368 service technicians are going to graduate this year. Where would that auto industry have got these service technicians? They have had 800 hours of industry experience while they are doing their 11th and 12th. And seeing that, last year we had 8,000 students in vocational education which are driven by the skill councils. This year we have 14,000. And that is limited only by the capacity of the schools to set up the laboratories and get the trainers. So we don't understand how keen and how open catchments are available for our industry till we actually go to the schools and colleges of our country. And that is what your sector skill council will do for you. If you have someone representing your sector, he's going to run around with the schools, he's going to canvass for you in the schools, in the colleges. ITIs, let me give you another story. In the Himachal ITIs, 7 industry sectors are now running their programs, topping up the existing courses which are run by the ITIs to align it to the requirement of the industry. And the list is endless. The UP skill mission, which is going to train 5 lakh people, are all going to train based on the job roles which are being given by those 17 sector skill councils, which you saw. So they are the ones who are going to decide how skill development is going to happen in this country. Funding is going to come from the government. The platform for training is going to be of the government. You will decide who will be the training partner who will go and train. You will decide the standards. You will decide the curriculum. You will decide the assessment. The only thing that the government and the country wants from you is that once these people get trained, you need to give preference for absorption. You need to say, I will prefer to hire a person who is NSQF level 4 certified by my skill council. Have I answered your question?
What is the competency of NSDC in getting this program done?
What is the competency of NSDC in getting this program done? NSDC has no competency except the ability to come and aggregate the industry together to develop this competency. The industry by sector has maximum competency to decide what standards should be, how the assessment must happen, and whether they will absorb the people whom they are assessing. So our competency is only because we have got the industry associations as our promoters. So we can come seamlessly, we can talk to you, we can excite you, and we can get you to get together and participate in this initiative.
Yeah. Any more questions?
In Shimoga, in fact, we started with this initiation with government tool room development, GTDC, but further it didn't take off. I don't know.
So the sector skill councils are, most of them are 1 year old in their operations. So the real effect we will be seeing in this fiscal year, 2014-15 onwards, we'll see the real effect of the Sector Skill Council. You're right, the hard skills are more difficult to come by, they'll take more time, but we have got the capital goods, we've got leather, we've got gems and jewelry, they're all hard skills, automobile. So hopefully this year we will see that transformation happen.
So one last question, please. Yeah, the gentleman there.
The Institute of Indian Foundrymen, IIF, did lot of preparatory work to start the activity with the NSDC. We went up to getting letters from the industries and formation of our committees, everything has been done. But at some point of time, NSDC told that it is not a thrust area or we are not interested, something like that. And it stopped after doing exercise for 1.5 years. Are you aware of it, sir?
I am aware, but let me give you little more good news. And the good news is that because the workforce in the foundry sector was found to be about 2 million, we wanted to aggregate it into a larger body because we can't, our country's workforce today is 400 million and we are adding 25 million every year. So we needed sectors to be a little larger. So we have included foundry in the Iron and Steel Skill Council, and the Iron and Steel Council has got a mandate that they have got to include foundry. It is there in writing. And so we invite you all to be part of the Iron and Steel Skill Council as and when the foundry sector feels that no, you need to have a skill council which is sitting outside the Iron and Steel Skill Council, we will be happy to consider.
So,
It has been funded, so you can start off with your activities straight away. We just need you to work along with them.
so thank you, Basa.